The wind howled, a mournful song across the vast frozen steppe. It was a sound as old as time, a constant companion to the nomadic tribes who followed the herds of mammoth and bison. For countless generations, this was the only music they knew. The crackle of fire, the rustle of hides, the guttural calls of their own kind, and the ever-present symphony of the wild. Illyra, her fingers numb with cold, huddled closer to the meager fire. Her eyes, dark and deep-set, scanned the dimly lit cave. The flickering flames cast dancing shadows on the rough-hewn walls, illuminating the crude drawings of hunts and spirits. But tonight, her mind was not on the past or the spirits. It was on a new sound, a whisper of an idea that had been growing within her. She had found it yesterday, near the frozen riverbed, where the ice had receded slightly. A bone. Not just any bone, but a long, hollow femur, bleached white by the sun and wind. When she'd picked it up, a strange instinct had guided her. She'd blown across the opening, and a clear, resonant note had emerged, cutting through the silence like a shard of ice. Her tribe, the Sky Watchers, were practical people. They valued strength, endurance, and a keen eye for the hunt. Music, as she understood it, was the spontaneous cry of joy, the mournful lament for the fallen, the rhythmic chanting during rituals. This was different. This was something made, something crafted. She held the bone now, turning it over in her hands. The surface was smooth, worn by time and the elements. She ran her thumb over a small, perfectly round hole that pierced one side. She had discovered this hole accidentally, her finger slipping as she tried to blow a steady note. The resulting sound had been a higher pitch, a trill that had startled a nearby bird from its roost. "What is that you have there, Illyra?" The voice belonged to Kale, the tribe's most seasoned hunter, his face a road map of scars and weathered lines. He approached the fire, his eyes falling on the bone in her hands. "It is a sound maker," Illyra replied, her voice soft, almost hesitant. Kale grunted, a sound of skepticism. "We have sounds. The wind makes sounds. The wolves make sounds. What need have we for a bone that makes a sound?" "This sound," Illyra said, and she blew into the bone again. The clear, pure note filled the cave, a stark contrast to the usual rough sounds of their lives. It was a sound that seemed to reach into a part of her she hadn't known existed. Kyle's eyes widened slightly. He had heard many sounds in his life, but none like this. It was beautiful. "It is hollow," he observed, his hunter's mind analyzing its properties. "Like a bird's bone?" "Yes," Illyra agreed, "and these holes..." She pointed to the small opening. "They changed the sound." She blew again, producing the higher whistling note. A few other members of the tribe, drawn by the unusual sound, had gathered around. Among them was Lyra, a young woman known for her quick hands and her skill in crafting tools and ornaments from bone and sinew. "May I try?" Lyra asked, her eyes shining with curiosity. Illyra handed her the bone. Lyra, with a focused intensity, brought it to her lips and blew. The sound was a little wavering at first, but then, as she adjusted her breath and covered the hole with her finger, a clear, melodic note emerged. She experimented, moving her finger over the hole, producing different pitches. A hush fell over the cave. The usual chatter and the crackling fire seemed to fade into the background, replaced by this strange, captivating new music. It was simple, yet profound. It spoke of something beyond the immediate needs of survival, of emotions that had no words. Over the next few days, Illyra and Lyra worked together. They found more bones, different sizes, different shapes. Lyra, with her nimble fingers, carefully smoothed the edges, enlarged the holes, and even carved intricate patterns into some of them. Illyra, with her intuitive sense of sound, discovered how to produce different rhythms and melodies. They learned that a longer bone produced a lower note while a shorter one sang higher. They discovered that the placement and size of the holes dramatically altered the pitch and timbre. They were, in essence, creating their own instruments. The tribe watched, a mixture of bewilderment and fascination on their faces. Some were wary, seeing this new pursuit as a distraction from the serious business of life, but others, especially the younger ones, were captivated. They would gather around Illyra and Lyra, their faces rapt as the two women played their bone flutes. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, the tribe gathered for their evening meal. The mood was somber. A harsh winter was predicted, and the herds had been scarce. Fear was a palpable presence in the cave. Illyra, feeling the weight of the tribe's anxiety, picked up her bone flute. She looked at Lyra, who nodded. Together they began to play. They didn't play a song of joy or a war chant. They played a melody that mirrored the wind, a lament for the hardships, but also a song of resilience. It was a sound that acknowledged their fear, but also offered a quiet strength, a reminder of the enduring spirit that had carried them through so many winters. As the notes drifted through the cave, something shifted. The hunched shoulders straightened. The worried frowns softened. The music didn't erase their fears, but it gave them a voice, a shared experience of their emotions. It was a comfort, a connection. Kale, who had been sitting stoically, his gaze fixed on the fire, slowly raised his head. He looked at Illyra, then at Lyra, and a rare smile touched his lips. "It is more than just a sound maker," he said, his voice rough but carrying a new warmth. "It is a voice for our hearts." From that day on, the bone flutes became an integral part of the Sky Watchers' lives. They were played during celebrations, during times of mourning, and simply for the joy of creating sound. The simple act of blowing into a hollow bone had unlocked something profound within humanity. The ability to express the inexpressible, to connect on a deeper level, and to find beauty in the most unexpected of places. The wind still howled across the mammoth steppe, but now it was no longer the only music. Humanity had found its own voice, a voice crafted from bone, a testament to the enduring power of creativity and the universal need for song. The mixtape of survival had gained its first track,